Got a real type of thing going down, getting down. Got a whole Wheezy Mondays going down. Welcome to Wheezy Mondays on a Tuesday. Big things happening in the Wheezyverse. One is we've ended our measuring water challenge. Last week of it was actually not measuring. We stopped actually measuring the last week because I wanted to see what the difference would be. Because for the first 3 weeks of measuring, didn't really notice much difference. I think there were times, I think maybe I, in general, felt less hungry more often and just full and just not thirsty because I was drinking a lot of water. But I also didn't know how much I was drinking anyway. So the last week we stopped measuring and it was kind of the same. There was initially, like early on, I did get a little headache. I don't know if it was related to that, but China also got a headache. So, the sun is going behind the trees. Oh man, this is going to be if you're listening to this podcast, I'm outside right now. I didn't really know, again, the last week I didn't really notice that much difference other than occasionally I did feel thirsty and I was like, whoa, it's been a while since I've had water, and I just go drink water and I was okay. Moments of like kind of discomfort where I'm like, why do I just not feel that good? And then I go drink water and then I'd kind of feel better. Just like brief moments, but it's really not that bad. Like I don't feel like it's necessary for me to measure my water to be okay. For some people, maybe they do, but it was kind of just annoying to have to like log the water all the time. I felt waterlogged. Sorry about that. But yeah, and it doesn't like, it's not super life changing if you drink enough water. If I don't have enough and I feel a little uncomfortable, then I have some. It's not like my life is amazing. It's just like, oh, I just feel normal now. So yeah, it's not super life changing, but probably a good thing to try if you feel like you don't drink enough water. That's my final thoughts on that. China might have a different opinion. Another news, minor news. Not news about minors, just news that doesn't seem that important. But I'm back to contacts. I'm not wearing my glasses right now. I just switched to glasses only for quite a while there, and I don't know why. I just was like, I don't want to worry about putting contacts in the morning. The pandemic hit, everyone was feeling a lot of stress. I'm like, I'm just going to reduce things in my life. So I just decided to wear glasses. And now I'm back because I was watching old Wheezy videos and I was like, I kind of like how I look without glasses. Number one. Number two, don't have to worry about reflection with lights. And I don't have to worry about cleaning them all the time, which is the most annoying thing. They get smudges on them and I have to clean them. Don't have to worry about that. And when I go for runs, and especially in the rain, don't have to worry about it. In general, I feel like it's more convenient to have contacts in, except you got to take them out every night. But that's fine. I can handle it myself. I'm fine. I don't know. Glasses, no glasses, doesn't really matter. Oh yeah, one more thing about that. I'm getting sick of people constantly like, oh, I thought this was a vsauce video. And it's not a joke. Like, people legitimately think that I'm Michael from vsauce. So if I go no glasses, I'll probably be all right. Although Michael from vsauce and I seem to be on the same wavelength all the time. Like, I decide to grow a big beard, he decides to grow a big beard, or vice versa. I lose weight, he loses weight. Maybe now he's going to start going no glasses. I don't think so, though. I think maybe we should consult each other. A lot of people are like, you should do a video together. We have. It's on Always Wheezy, a channel that I haven't updated in many years. That was a channel that initially I started as just a channel to upload phone videos when I got I think it was like right when I got a smartphone. I'm like, well, I can just like hit upload, and I just made a channel for it, and it's Always Wheezy. There's a lot of videos on there, but we did one where Michael from vsauce, he was in Chicago at the time, and we just did a video together. It's funny. Look it up. And I've hung out with him on other occasions. VidCon, in England when I was in London for 3 weeks for the Olympics. He was there. I think he lives there. I don't know. Anyway, we're friends. A lot of people think it's like some sort of revelation when they're like, this guy looks like vsauce. They should do a collab. Oh my God, what if they met each other? We have. Okay. But in other news, which will probably be the title of this video, something about this anyway, we're beginning our new journey. Not our nude journey. Although that seems like a good one. I was nude for 30 days. Here's what happened. I just wouldn't leave the house because I'd get arrested. I'd probably get cold. Wonder if I'd be allowed to wear a blanket. Anyway, China and I are quitting. Again, we're quitting added sugar, quitting alcohol, and we're quitting social media for a month. I think it's going to be pretty similar to how quitting the internet before, but this time I'm going to probably call it social media, because when we quit the internet before, there were caveats. I could still check email like once every 15 minutes every week or something. I don't remember how often it was. And we could still like use Google Maps if we needed to or something. It was mainly to get away from, I think, our binging social media. And so this time I think I'll just more straightforward. We'll just say quitting social media. Even though I will still be uploading videos, I will still be mentioning videos on Twitter, or promoting things, but I won't be on there in any other capacity. I won't get sucked into it. But I will check the news. Last time I would get the paper, like physical paper, to read the news, but this time I might just read that New York Times app, other news sites. I know a lot of people are like, New York Times sucks. That's fine. You have your opinions. I also was thinking about a future challenge. I read the entire New York Times every day for 30 days, like the entire thing, which is interesting because, like last time we quit the internet and I would read the newspaper, it was the best experience ever. I was reading full articles and learning about things that I didn't even think I wanted to know. When you go to Twitter, when you go to anything online, you're going to peruse headlines because there's so many options. So you have to narrow in on the thing you want and then read it, maybe, or you end up just reading a bunch of headlines. And if you're using social media, it's going to be algorithms that are tailoring things to you and your interests. So that's no way to branch out to learn about things that you didn't even know you wanted. But when you have a physical paper, it's hard. It takes a while longer to peruse the headlines. It's more cumbersome, and there's limited options just from that paper. It's not gonna. And then when you go to one thing, it's not gonna have links to other things. So you read full articles, and I was learning things, interesting things that I never would have learned about, like different things that were happening in the world that nobody was talking about online, or at least I don't think so. I wasn't on there, but and in depth, you read about the details of things, the perspectives of them, and I know I can hear people being like, well, yeah, you're not going to get a fair, balanced perspective from New York Times, or like any you could say that about any news organization. But have you read the entire paper every day? There are multiple diverging opinions within each issue of a paper. And in-depth stories about things no one else is talking about. So how can you say the entire thing is wrong or skewed? Obviously, papers are going to lean one way or the other. But I don't feel like it's as extreme as people make it out to be. Got some interesting lighting going on here with this sun in the trees. The sun is in the trees. But I find that interesting, reading for this no social media month, I'm going to be reading as much of the paper as I can, but I don't know if I'll do the everyday challenge yet. But I might do that if it's feasible to just read the entire thing. It might take too long, especially the Sunday paper. And the thing that I'm really dreading is like the sports section. Or like if it's like local New York news. That might not be that interesting to me. But she's just pushing Ada around in the bike carrier. The trailer you put attached to the back of a bike. Having a good time?
We're having a great time.
Good. So, like, maybe I'll get super into sports or different sports that I never cared about before. I just like the idea of challenging myself to go deep in some knowledge about things that I didn't think about before. And I feel like that would be good for me. Really, it's all about, like, all of these challenges kind of are about busting your cycle, getting out of the routines to try to improve things, to get perspective. And so yeah, the no social media. When we did no internet before, I liked it. I liked it a lot. And initially, this idea was just going to be no added sugar, no alcohol. But then we were already, like, I deleted Twitter off my phone. Was already reducing the amount of binging I was doing. China's already been doing no social media. So like, well, why don't we just tag that on to the video? So we have. And immediately after deleting Twitter off my phone, almost immediately, I felt less stress. I just felt generally better. I don't feel less informed. I'm sure there's things that I don't know about that are happening on Twitter, but that's okay. I feel like I have a good idea what's happening in the world. I just have less constant stress and worry. Maybe some is good. Maybe we should be informed and we should be concerned about things that are happening in the world. But do you really need to be so worried that you lose sleep over it, that you lose time, keeps you from being productive and maybe working towards improving any aspect of the world in any way that you can? So it has immediately been better. I was still going to Twitter on my computer, so I'm still aware of things happening, but I feel better because I'm not constantly on my phone doing it. And now it's just going to be completely gone. Still going to check the news, probably from the New York Times app, from various, I don't know which news sites I'll choose, but I don't like listing them because then that just invites people to say why this one's wrong and this one's wrong. You can say that about any one of them. Because everything will always have elements of subjectivity to it. Just the act of choosing a story to write about is subjective. So there's no escape from that. That doesn't mean that everything is wrong. Pointing out something's bias is kind of a fallacy. It's a straw man argument. It's like, yeah, you're biased, so I'm not going to believe you. Just because someone's biased doesn't mean they're wrong. You know. It might mean they're wrong sometimes, but maybe not in that specific thing they're talking about. So, anyway, I feel like I'm looking forward to the no social media. The no internet last time was great. And since the no internet last time, I use it less still to this day. I'm pretty sure I do. And I feel like if we do it again, then I'll use it even less. I'll just get better habits. The goal isn't to not ever use it, because I don't think it's just purely useless. But just to have a better relationship with it. Now, on to no added sugar. We did no added sugar 2 years ago. Most successful video I've ever had. It's at 10 million views now. Blew up to ridiculous proportions I never expected. That's not why we're doing it again. In fact, that would be a reason I wouldn't want to do it again, because we already did it. That seems kind of lame to just do the same thing. So the reason isn't for the video. The reason is just for our habits. Because since the no sugar, I also feel like I have eaten less sugar since that video. I had already given up soda and already had didn't consume a lot of sugar. I mean, maybe sometimes we'd have ice cream. I'd have chocolate. Probably more than I needed, for sure. Some days probably way too much. But we've cut soda and juice, any like liquid sugar, out of our lives a while ago. But since the no added sugar month, I've consumed less in general. Less ice cream, less chocolate. Like, I just think about it more, and I think about how much sugar is in things. Like, we discovered how much sugar is in a lot of things. Like, maybe I kind of already knew some of this, but like yogurt, like standard grocery store yogurt you buy, not like plain yogurt, but like flavored stuff. It's ridiculous amounts of sugar. It's absurd. I'm sure now it's probably better. There's been a lot of backlash against sugar in the past few years, and I feel like things are improving a little bit. But if you don't pay attention, there's things that are loaded with sugar that don't need to be. So, in general, we don't consume a lot of that stuff. But lately, especially during the past several months, some snacking has creeped back in. Like, we have this big vat of M&Ms in the cupboard. Cabinet, whatever you want to call it. China calls it a cabinet. She doesn't like that I call it a cupboard sometimes. Cupboard, cabinet, whatever. Would occasionally have like dark chocolate in the cupboard that I would grab a few here and there, which would be like initially every other day, and then it became every day, and then multiple times a day. These things creep in. So we're going to quit again for a month to get back on track. Last time we did it, by the end of the month, we had celebrated with some ice cream, and I felt sick, like very quickly after having a little bit. So it'll be good to do this, and then I won't just jump right back, jump into it, as Philip DeFranco says. I will, what are they doing over there? They're swinging. Just quitting for a month will improve the habits. That's the goal. To get that back out of our lives, because I do notice when I have a lot of it, especially earlier in the day, and it could be coffee too, but I think it's mostly sugar. I'll crash. I'll crash quickly too, quicker than with coffee. And coffee's not really, doesn't seem to be much of a problem for me lately, but sugar, and there's a lot of arguments about coffee being good for you. That's a whole other subject, but I notice I crash. Like, I don't feel good, especially in the afternoons and evenings, if I've had a bunch of sugar earlier, like a bunch of M&Ms or something. And I also crave, like after a meal, like I gotta get some of them M&Ms, and it's just a little bit. I'll just grab a little, and then you do that over and over, and then it becomes more than you realize. And so, cutting it out, just cutting it. I don't think it's gonna be that hard. The no sugar last time was like day 4. We both crashed hard. It was like the worst. We felt terrible. I don't think it's going to happen this time, because I don't think I'm eating a lot of sugar anyway. But I don't want to eat as much as I am eating. So, doing it. No alcohol. The other thing. This, to me, all three of these things, I think, I said this on Twitter, are probably the worst habits of our lives, both China and my lives, is social media, alcohol, and sugar. Alcohol is probably worse for me than it is for China, but so that's why we're doing all three. But alcohol is probably the worst for me. We did no alcohol in January, and it was great. It wasn't that hard, really, to cut alcohol out of our lives. I did notice I felt more, especially early on, I felt tired in the evenings, and we'd go to bed earlier. I think I do get energy from alcohol. Some people, I just watched this whole interview, an old Dick Cavett show, 70s talk show with Dick Van Dyke was the guest. It was Dick and Dick. They were talking about Dick Van Dyke had a alcohol problem for, like, he says, like 7 years, and he quit alcohol, and he talks all about it, and how I don't know how extreme you would say my drinking is, but I don't know if it was as extreme as what he was talking about. but you talk about your body becomes dependent on it, and it adapts to it. And you get energy from it. And so I think when you cut it out, you get tired because your body is looking for that. And I did get kind of tired when I stopped. And by the end of the month, in general, I don't know that I felt better. I felt pretty good. There were days where I felt kind of amazing, and then some days where I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. I feel fine. And then once we could drink again, I started drinking a little bit, and I didn't get back to the way as much as I was drinking before the month. But I would have some occasionally, and then I would be like, okay, I'm drinking a little too much, and then I would take several days off of drinking anything, and then have a few again. But lately, I'm noticing it creeping in even more, a little too much. So I'm going to quit again. And I think the repeated cycle of like quitting for 30 days, it's not a miracle cure-all, but it gradually improves from then on. So each time I do it, I think it incrementally gets better. I'll have less. I don't think that that alcohol I think it just generally saps my energy sometimes. Like I feel like I told you I get energy from it, especially in the evening if I'm having drinks. But the next day, I feel like I have less energy. I feel like I can't focus as much. It's very subtle. It's hard. You can't. And when it's gone, when I quit alcohol and I have the focus back and the productivity back, it also doesn't always feel amazing. It just feels normal. Just like when you drink enough water, you just get back to normal, which is less motivating because you want to feel amazing. You want it to be like, this is the answer to life. I feel great all the time. It's not how it works. You can initially feel worse and then get gradually back to just feeling normal. But normal in a subtle way that's better than it was before, which makes it hard to keep going. But it is better. I felt more productive. I felt more on top of things. I felt more comfortable, less anxious, more willing to try things because I felt like I had more energy and more focus. So I was able to get things done, and it felt good. And I felt all those things were great. But again, it wasn't like pure bliss, pure nirvana. It was just like the way it should feel. Life should feel. This is kind of how it felt. And sometimes having a drink also feels awesome. So you're feeling good. You're like, yeah, I'm good. Life feels good. Might as well have a drink now. And then you do that, and then more, just like with the chocolate, or just like with the social media, you do that a little bit, and you do a little more, you do a little more, until it becomes routine, and then you gotta bust it again by quitting for 30 days. So that's what we're doing. That's the next video. Well, the next video coming out today, actually, on the main channel, is China and my talking. It's a 20-minute video. It's us we went through 50 questions and we tried to guess what the other person answered, like the newlywed game, to see how well we know each other. That video is coming out today. I added a lot of B-roll and I edited the crap out of it, and I think it's good. I added a lot of pizzazz, a lot of Craig pizzazz, and I think it's a good one. I think you're gonna like it. That's coming out today on the main channel. The next video will be the quitting water for a month video. But the challenge, the next challenge that we're doing is the no alcohol, no sugar, no social media. And then at the beginning of next month, in the middle of this challenge, so we're starting this challenge today on the 15th. On the 30th, what is it? September 30th. October 1st, we're starting another challenge on top of this one with Johnny Harris and Iz Harris, YouTubers. Johnny Harris, or Iz Harris does a lot of, she did do a lot of travel vlog type stuff. And Johnny Harris worked for Vox, and he did a series called Borders, which was great. But they wanted to collab with us, and we want to collab with them. So we're doing a coloring therapy. It's like adult coloring books. we're gonna use those every night. See what that does for us. There's a bee right there. That'll be a challenge. We'll start it in October. At some point, I would like to do the newspaper every day. I'll probably experiment with that this month while I have no social media. Other ideas cooking up for the future, but that's where we're at right now. Still reading more. I just did that video about reading. I finished the book, The Mark and the Void. Mark and the Void. Pretty good. I liked it. It's not, it's not gonna change your life, but it was a good story. Maybe it'll change your life. I'm sort of reading Artemis, the guy who wrote The Martian, Andy Weir. I'm reading. I started that a long time ago, but then I stopped. But I'm going back to that, reading that. But I'm also reading. I finished Dr. Aaron Carroll's The Bad Food Bible, which I think is great. I think is a really good way, a good like crash course, you could say, in learning about how we get how we know how studies have led to what we think about food, and generally how it misleads us. I'm also reading. I just got. Forgot what it's called. There's a book about. I just got it in the mail, and I'm going to be reading. It takes place in Russia, and it's about a kidnapping. Involves 2 young girls. Whoa. But it had good reviews, so I'm going to read that. I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about and have read it. What else I got? I feel like there's other books I'm reading. I'm reading a book, when the shooting stops, the editing begins, or the cutting begins. It's a book that was written in the 70s by an editor, the guy who edited a lot of movies with Woody Allen. He did Annie Hall, which the editing in that is pretty brilliant. I'm reading that book because I'm getting interested in making my own movies sometime soon. And that's about it for now. I think that's it. How are you? I feel like I'm forgetting something. No, we're good. I do these kind of videos every single weekday on Patreon. If you want to support me there, there's other perks over there. Monthly live stream, monthly minute-long banjo face. That's important. And main channel video we'll put up here probably. Wheezy Mondays playlist. Sometimes they happen on Tuesdays. Keep up the good work.